Hello. I'm just out for a ride. Fincock's here. Here's my bike. I put it down because up in this tree I saw something as I rode past. I was looking up in the tree because I'd seen something interesting in the previous tree, and I'll go back to that in a minute. But up there, can you see in the crook of some branches just there is a rabbit. It's dead, and the reason it's up there is because a buzzard, a big bird of prey, was chomping into it. It's just there. Can you see it? Fluffy bit in that little hook of a tree. Great big buzzard was up there pulling bits of flesh off it as I turned up. It was just great to see. Great to see a buzzard, they're a huge bird, managing to swoop out of this dense tree. It knows its way out of here, obviously, and it's caught that. That's a young bunny. The young are maybe a month or so old at most this time of year. They're a bit naive. They're also very tender for the likes of a buzzard to eat, and so it managed to catch one, and it'll come back to that as soon as I've cleared the area a bit further. Now, the reason I was looking up in the trees, I was being very optimistic with this, but I'd seen the remains of an edible fungus growing out of the side of the previous oak tree. I thought, well, it's just worth looking out, see if there's any fresh growing. These are last year's, and they come out. Ooh, ouch! Not very good break at the moment. They come out in about a month's time, and for a couple of months. So these are quite old examples of this fungus, but these are called chicken of the woods or sulphur shelf, and they grow on oaks. I've also seen them on yews, but I've been advised that on a yew tree, because it's a poisonous wood, it's best not to eat. But that's what this was. So this would have been a sulphurous yellow and orange when it grew. There's more up there. This is absolutely typical what it grows on. A quite mature, slightly decaying oak. But oaks can live like this for decades, even hundreds of years. And there's a branch that's fallen off it just down here. I would expect to see possibly some of that fungus sprout out of here too in a month or so's time. And although I'm a long way from home, much nearer to where I've got other members of family live around here, if I'm coming to visit them during the rest of the summer, I'll make time to pull in here and check this out, because this chicken of the woods fungus is so tasty. It really is called chicken of the woods because it is quite chickeny. It's got a meaty texture to it. It's very nutritious, and when it crops, I mean that's the rotted remains from the best part of a year ago. Probably gives you a clue of something very edible, that it would have been vast, you know. We'll be talking 10 kilos, maybe more, of fungus just growing out of the side of the tree. And you can take a saw to it or a very big knife, take a huge lump off. I filled a rucksack with it before, a big walking, 20 litre, no, not 20 litre, more like 30 or 40 litres. Just stuff it in there, and then you take it home. It can be frozen. I've fried it up with a little bit of oil, a little olive oil, something like that, a little bit of seasoning, and once it's cooked, it can be frozen better than if it's frozen in its raw state. But then you freeze it as strips, and you can put it on top of pizza or something like that. A very healthy, wild, just a great extra food, and it's highly sought after and quite valuable where you can buy it. But really, it's almost impossible to find for sale because it can't be harvested. You can't, or can't be farmed rather. Yeah, that's a cool thing. So two cool bits of nature just in 2 trees of a bike ride. See ya.